Hola, from Mexico, Morelia.
Hola.
We are at the YWAM base in Morelia, Mexico. The state is?
Michoacan.
Right now we're in a house of one of the staff. That's where we are staying. But we would just like to fill you in on what we've been doing the last 3 weeks, I guess. The first 2 weeks we were in Zapote de Picachos. It's an isolated village. Actually, it's the area of where the isolated village is. There was one village was called Mesa, which means table, Mesa actually, and the other one we're not sure how to pronounce it, but it means hidden village, and they were both side by side, just two separate parts of the community. It was with the Huichol people.
That's the language they speak.
That's the language they speak, yeah.
It's nothing like Spanish.
No. There are 364 different languages in Mexico. Different languages, not dialects, completely different languages. And only one of them is Spanish. The rest of them are indigenous peoples, their own language. The first week there we were in class learning oral Bible translation, where we learned the story of Mark chapter 1 verses 1 to 39, and we had to memorize. We had to internalize that story. So that's what we learned, so that we can use that technique throughout the rest of our outreach in the indigenous villages.
Yeah. That was basically what we did most of the first week.
Yep.
The second week we spent our mornings, cool story, helping a couple. Their names were Pedro and Valentina. They lived below us under the hill, where we kind of lived on a cliff, and they were down there, and we thought we were helping collect rocks to fill the foundation for latrines for them. And it was partly right. It was a latrine that we were helping build, collect the rocks for the foundation. But the latrine is because the house that some of the students were living in, some of us were in tents, some were in the house. He wants to build one quite similar to it, so that he can, more teams, more missionary teams and outreach teams can come and stay, and the latrines were for that. And we didn't find that out until day 2, I think.
Yeah, sometime, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we did in our mornings, usually from 7, stopped at breakfast at 8:30, and then went back at it until about 11, or when it got too hot. But because we were there with another team, the Honolulu YWAM team also came after, on that last week. There was an abundance of people and only so many rocks on the mountainside that we could collect. Some of us would go out and just visit, just go to people's house. Literally, you walk by, hey, hola, buenos dias, and sit down and visit with them and just build friendships and relationships.
Yeah, we had Roberto speak to us. He's an indigenous man working with YWAM. He used to be a lawyer, but he has a love for his people, and he wants the gospel to be shared into the indigenous communities. And he was just sharing how you go about spreading the gospel in these communities, and it's completely different than what we would normally think of, just going out and spreading the word. It is a lot of visiting, gaining trust, because these people groups, not just in Mexico but all over the world, indigenous people groups have been hurt very badly by the church coming in with well-meaning people, but not understanding the culture and trying to force them to change, and that has caused a lot of hurt in the communities, and it has caused a lot of mistrust, but also a very wrong view of who God is. Yeah. So now we're trying to rebuild those relationships so that we can be an example of what we should be an example of, not trying to force new religions and new ways on these indigenous communities.
And the way we were doing that, we had a team. We kind of stuck with our team because on our very first day out, we met a couple, an older couple, and we sat and talked with them, and their son came and visited us. He was on his way through and he stopped to talk to his mom and dad, and it turns out we didn't know, but our translator was saying, yeah, he's kind of like the president of the village. And we were like, oh, okay, all right. And he left. Oh, and while he was there, he'd only been there about 10 minutes, and he said he was inviting us up, our group, there was 5 of us, 4 of us, 5 of us, and he invited us up to his house to make tortillas with his wife. She makes blue corn and red corn tortillas. So we said, okay, but it couldn't be the next day because she was away, so it would be another day, and we just, all right, whatever. And when our the YWAM Morelia team leader came back, we said to him, like, the president invited us up, and he said, oh? And we said, yeah, to make tortillas. And he was like, we were like, who is this man? And he said, yeah, he's kind of like the president. He is like the mayor of all this, and he's, he's quite high up in the elders. And he says it's a huge honor to be invited. Like, it's the first time he's ever done that. So we all went up to his wife. He came and picked us up and got us, and told Dale, that the leader, that we were summoned. So we were summoned to the president's house, and we walked up and we made tortillas with her, with him and his wife, and had a wonderful afternoon, and then took our tortillas back to our team to enjoy for supper.
In Canada, he would have been called the chief of the community.
Yeah. And he even showed us his garb, his outfit for special occasions. He put it all on for us. Yeah. I do have pictures. He allowed me to take pictures that I could share. I'll try and put them on the blog at some time. I don't have a computer or my iPad. I'm just working with my my phone right now, and the pictures I took were on my camera, so they'll be at another time. And then the ladies of the village, we made friends with one of the ladies whose husband was actually stung by a scorpion, who lived beside us. And our nurse on our team, she went to look after him, and we kind of started visiting with them. And the wife began showing us all how to make shakira, which is, I don't have them on right now, but it's jewelry all made with beads. So we got to sit at different times in our last week and make either earrings or a bracelet or a necklace with her, and they're just phenomenal. The work they do another thing called bolsa, and their bags. I have one, it's not here, and it's all hand stitched, and you wear it crossbody. They're all different sizes, from just little ones to big ones, and they literally hand stitch the entire bag. The designs are all unique, the colors are all, there's never 2 bags alike, they're always totally different. And we received one of those, or we got one of those.
The village that we were in moved there 15 years ago because there was a mountain landslide in their old village up in the mountains farther, and I was able to go up one morning, hiked up there, and it was amazing just to see how they used to, like the trail. They've built a road now that is about halfway up, and it's all been built with pick and shovel and wheelbarrows, and they have been following ravines, going up steep hills. These people work very hard to build these roads, and they're just a little over halfway up. But the trails that we went on, and these are the trails that they used to walk on in order to get down to, because their community now is right on the lake, a man-made lake that they used to walk all the time. It took us 2.5 hours of hard hiking to get there.
With 2 chickens.
Yeah, we took 2 chickens up because there was a 79-year-old man up there that lived up there, and scorpions killed his hens. So he had no eggs. So we bought him 2 chickens, and we hiked them up the mountain for him. Just show him we loved them.
Yeah.
We had some amazing times with the Morelia team. They taught us so much. I was able to go fishing one morning, and my desire was that on outreach, if we could be at a village where there was fishing, and my dream was that if we could all have breakfast on the beach like Jesus did with his disciples. So we went out fishing one morning, me and a couple of the locals and 2 guys from the Morelia team, and we caught a bunch of fish, and we didn't eat them for breakfast, but we had them that night for supper on the beach. And the Morelia team shared the crucifixion story through oral Bible translation. We had communion, which Jody and I led, and yeah, we just had a magnificent fish supper. It was wonderful.
And the stars. There was no noise pollution from cities, no light pollution. When God said to Abraham about your offspring will be as numerous as the stars and as the grains of sand, it was just wow. I've never seen so many stars in all my life.
Beautiful.
And as we left there on the boat on, I forget what day, it was Saturday morning, I believe. It was very sad. Most of us didn't want to go. And while we were there, in the 2 weeks we were there, we ran out of water at least 3 times.
Yep.
Bucket showers were very popular.
You had to flush the toilets with buckets.
With a bucket to flush the toilet. But we ran out of drinking water every once in a while, and the water, which we had an on-site purification filter. But because there were so many of us, we would run out of water. And I think I'm pretty much good to say for the entire team that none of us wanted to leave. We just loved it. The people were so open and loving, and just wanting to be friends.
There was one house that had a thermometer on it, and we seen the one day it hit 113 Fahrenheit, and which works out to about 45 degrees Celsius. It was smoking hot.
Yeah.
When you watch movies about the West and Mexico, and they take a siesta in the afternoon, in these villages they did, because it just got so hot in the afternoon. They would get up at 3, 4 in the morning and go work on the roads or do whatever work they had to do, and then usually by noon they were having a siesta somewhere in the shade, and then they started moving again towards sunset.
Yeah, well, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So yeah, we made lots of wonderful friends. We had invites for us to come back and visit.
Yep.
We had invites to come back and live. We just love Zapote. And so we left there, we came here to Morelia, and this week we've been here. We have been doing a lot of evangelizing, just going out in the city and meeting new people, making friends with the city that's here. These people are not as friendly and as open as they seem to be in Mazatlan, but they are still, once you get to know them, they are very warm, very welcoming, very helpful, excited to see you. I've made friends with a 72-year-old man who was an eye surgeon. He's retired now, and he sits in the park from 8 o'clock in the morning till 1 in the afternoon, and just sits and talks to people. And he's ready to share the gospel. He was teaching us one day with our group that went through. But yeah, this is just such a beautiful place. We've gone from the beaches to the mountains, and yeah, it's just phenomenal here. This next week, we're going south into the mountains, and we will be going dark. We can't tell you anything else. And then after that, we're going to Mexico City for 2 days, or a day and a half, and then we're flying out to Oaxaca. And in Oaxaca, we don't know a whole lot of what we're doing yet, but we were told that there'll be coffee. Yeah. And that we're quite excited about.
Coffee in Oaxaca and Chiapas.
In Chiapas, see. Yeah.
I have an amazing story about how the Lord took me fishing up at Zapote, Picachos. And if you want to hear more about that, it's too long to put on a video, so you can email us, or we can video chat with you someday when we have service. Also, just one of the cool ways that we've seen the Holy Spirit move. Tuesday when we went out evangelizing, we prayed before we left the base, and I felt the Holy Spirit telling me that I would meet a farmer with a horse, and I was supposed to tell him my testimony, and a short version of it. So we weren't 2 blocks from the base, and down the road comes this farmer leading his horse. So I stopped him and shared my testimony with him. So we've just seen, that's just one of the ways that we've seen the Holy Spirit move. It's just been amazing.
And lots of different stories, because Dennis and I try not to work together if possible, just so that we have stuff, different experiences with different students and different people in different parts of the city. Yeah, we've had a lot of exciting, just a lot of excitement. And yeah. The
Lord has been true to his word when he said he was going to take us on an adventure. That it has been. And we're only 3 weeks into our outreach.
Yeah. Wow. So, yeah. So, like always, if you have any questions, comments, I'm pretty sure we won't have internet for the next week when we're on our next village, but send us an email. If you want to talk, we can video chat probably after that. At some time we can make arrangements and share more with you. We have just been crazy busy and loving all of it. We can't wait to share more. And how God's speaking to us. We just want to thank you all for your time and the prayers and messages, and it's been great. So,
adios.
Hasta luego.